please, sir. Okay, the time 6 o'clock, and I call the September 26th Board of Selectmen meeting to order. Please stand for the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Citizens comments, there's no citizens today.
Present. That's
Present.
present.
We're all citizens, there are plenty of them.
So we have approval of the minutes. September 12th.
Move to approve.
Abstain, I was not here.
So all in favor? Aye. Or- No, wait, second. Oh, second.
That's efficiency.
Correspondence and minutes. Oh, first I want to add something to the agenda. I would like to add, a beach pond meeting to the agenda. Underneath, Meredith. No, wait, actually, underneath.
More stuff, speed.
Full speed signs are on there. Yeah, underneath it.
Beach pond meeting.
All right, so. Yeah, to correspondence.
Did you want a
Oh, yeah,
motion?
all in favor or a
Aye.
second?
Second.
Aye.
We're just being efficient today, we're doing everything backwards and all at once.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so it's added. I'm sorry, am I going?
It is now item G under new business, beach pond meeting.
So correspondence. We received a announcement via email from Governor Lamont's office that starting in January, Connecticut's minimum wage will increase, increase to $15.69 under its first ever economic indicator adjustment. So that brings the employment cost index increase by 4.6%. Yeah. So that's why I'm not budgeted. Another,
That will be annual hereafter,
yeah,
that they're going to make
yeah,
adjustments, so
yeah.
you should probably start including that in
Yeah.
our budget.
I received a notice via electronic mail and also in the mail from the state of Connecticut Siting Council pursuant to regulations of Connecticut State Agency Section 1650J-72. The Connecticut Siting Council is in receipt of a request to modify an existing telecommunications facility located in Wallington. And this one is on the Hill Road. 497 contract. They're always modifying this. It's the last week property. Anyone has any comments or concerns? By September 28th, so you have like 2 years.
What is that? Is this the mountain bike trail property?
No, that's the Wheat Farm, is they have a cell tower.
Sorry. Yes. Sorry, I was thinking Pendleton Hill, but you said that you got it. Okay, yes, come on, and the cell tower that way. Got it.
We have until September 28th, the right comment.
Hasn't this come up
It
before?
comes up all the time. They're
Yeah.
And yet my service still stinks.
What else? The DOT, I got an email from the DOT saying that they received my request from the last meeting. And that they said my concern has been forwarded and looked at, and it would take several months to complete the reviews. And I'm hoping that it takes longer than that because I asked them to do their traffic count in the summer. Hopefully it takes longer to do the review than a couple of months. And we are having, the fire department is having a chicken barbecue, October 17th, I think. All of the proceeds to that are gonna go to the Oscar family. The, for Richie and,
16th is a Tuesday.
all right, October
14th.
14th, sorry.
It's that Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry. Getting all my dates mixed up. So we have, tickets on sale here, and we also are accepting donations, cash or check. If people can't make it to get tickets, all the donations will go right to the account.
Mhm.
Okay, so moving on, public works report, that we have, one employee that's been constantly mowing. The grass and the weeds are growing faster than they can keep up with because of all the rain. We completed the, work on Wiley School Road and Parkland Hill Road. And we are currently in the process of, going through a list of curbings and road repairs, that are like single issue things. That we try to address at least once a year, with the paving company that we work with. We've been doing some trainings. We just did a training last week on surveying, and we have one tomorrow on road safety. So, that's public works, finance report. Cash. The treasurer's report, investment interest earned in July, $21,264. Year to date, $32,520. There's an update on the Citizens Bank account. The short-term investment fund. And how we are currently getting bids from banking providers. The check signing. And investment policy.
What is the investment policy training? December 5th and 7th? Who is the training for?
Tony's taking training through the DFY.
Okay, so that's training for Tony. Got it. Okay,
Yeah, it's his training that he's doing.
okay.
So work on a town investment policy. That he'll present,
ACH has a summer break. Okay. It just seems funny.
And then Julie, you want to summarize yours?
I didn't really have too much. We're basically working on starting the audit tomorrow, so. A few weeks, we're sitting down the paperwork for them for the 22-23 audit. And working with Tony to review different banks. We sat down with Centralville today and we're going to do a demonstration for us next week on their product. Which their fees were great because there was some fees, so that was
No municipal fee.
hoping their product is as good as the others because no fees are
Pretty nice.
And their interest rates were really very good. Competitive with those that. So. The other things we've been working on is the fee grant, submitting the report to them to get the reimbursement. And working on RFPs. And inside the packet, there is what our percentages are for 23-24 today.
anyone have any questions for Julie?
No.
Thank you. So moving on to old business, ARPA funds, I don't have an update, Fort Hill Bridge. We received notification from the state that our state archaeology, will be doing some testing at the site. They have reason to believe that there are old mill site foundations or something down there, so they need to do an investigation. And we have a meeting in a couple of weeks with abutting residents to go over that and the project. Gate Street master plan, no update. Municipal IC,
New updates.
municipal complex improvement project. Where the bathroom started today, changing the fixtures and will be painted the floor. And they started capping up. There's a grate from the old furnace that's like ground level. That's how we think the water's been getting in. So we're working on sealing that off. That should be done probably by the end of this week. And we're working on the quotes for the sidewalk and the steps and the entry to both buildings. So we have a meeting next week also to go over that.
Real quick, and we may have already addressed this. So the sidewalks, does that work involve digging down and inspecting / replacing the pipe that's connecting town hall to the library?
No,
Not replacing that.
no, we're not replacing anything, we're not using it, but I don't know how far the digging is, but we're that.
We're not still using that for network connection?
No, it's
Okay,
not,
okay,
it's not needed,
then disregard.
Yeah.
Thank
it's
you.
not needed, but whether it'll have to come out or anything, I don't know how far they're going down or what, we haven't gotten there yet.
The state archaeologist coming out.
Not if I do that. But we did just move the Volunteer line, didn't they, know it?
I did.
I'm sorry, I did not.
The blue one that was across the street from Shell Station and the little tiny island that no one could ever reach because we couldn't get to it.
This is speeding through
And,
town. You know, the speed limit.
yeah. So now it's right
Actually-
here,
Good.
it's right here now. So you-
Gotcha. I will have a look at it after the meeting.
And it got refurbished nicely.
I intentionally practice malicious compliance, with the speed limit
That's
from Route
Yeah.
3 all the way through town.
So they must love you on the Rhode Island side of Route 3 then, because they pass like.
Oh, I've had,
They'll pass you.
18 wheelers regularly pass, fly by me as I'm sitting there doing 45. Yeah,
They go even faster at 5 o'clock in the morning, traffic goes to work,
Yeah.
easily 80 miles an hour.
yeah. So,
Never a trooper to be down in Rhode Island.
Yeah. So. That's where we are with the speed. Ordinances, we do have the blight ordinance on the agenda, but we're also working on updating the, building. There's like a building ordinance for like building codes, that all the fees in it need to be like updated and redone, and there's stuff in there that, Rick even said is, not. It's not updated, like they don't do things like that anymore, so that needs to be updated, so we're working on that.
It's updated in 1722, the year after the town's corporation.
So,
Yes.
and I think that, I thought there was another one we're working on, but I think that's the one we're just looking at. Valentine Fire Station improvement design,
We're
we're,
not doing anything with like,
it's, oh yeah, it's not on there anywhere else, no, that's where it is, okay, so it was- all right. Sorry. So, we have the blight ordinance still hanging. I did, it's on the agenda for 41 Church Street. There are powers that we have now that we can use, which the building inspector and I just used on 41 Church Street.
The white multifamily across from the post office.
that's falling down. It's been proceedingly getting worse, like the porch is starting to collapse. So,
The last 15 years.
yeah, so Rick went over to, look at it, and it qualifies as a violation of, sections 116, 117, and 118 of the building code. So, which means that it temporarily, well, not temporarily, it's unsafe, and a danger to,
Is it currently vacant or is there?
Yes.
Okay,
and a danger, to citizens. So, under the statute, the town, is responsible for making the building safe. So, Public Works will be going out there. So we sent a letter to the property owner to, let them know that the building was in violation, and they have 30 days to come up with a plan. Which either is repairing, rehabbing, or demolition, or other appropriate corrective action. So we're still waiting, on the plan. But in the meantime,
when did the letter go out?
Thursday,
So the,
I haven't gotten the,
21st.
I haven't gotten the card
Week
yet.
after mine. All right.
I haven't gotten the card yet, but, it was Thursday. So, Public Works will be going out there and boarding up the windows and taping off the porch, because the porch is unsafe for them to go on. So they'll just be, taping off. And then we have 30 days, for the action, and then after that, the town, has the option to tear it down or do whatever.
Do we send them the bill for the demolition?
That's to be, according to the statute, that's illegal. So we would,
Illegal?
no, legal, it's illegal. We have to figure out, like, how we do we do take it down, but how it's paid for is up to like the legal working out of the situation. So, which we haven't gotten.
so we can build them, we just have to figure out how to do it.
Yeah. And
Well,
it might-
go ahead and having the lien on the property, but it's gonna be expensive because the building's old enough that it probably is.
yeah.
And that may be one of the reasons why it's gotten to this stage.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
That's not where that is.
Is Rick's attention on this building focused on, because it's in the central village area?
Yeah. Central Village area, there's houses nearby with kids, and it's physically falling down. And we've had a lot of complaints on all of the above. So,
Lots of positive stuff.
yeah, so that's just to show, I'm talking about this under ordinances, because that's just to show we have the power to do things without the ordinance. If,
Are you,
Hi, I don't know where to go for this.
Yeah.
Some people just left their phones at the park over there,
okay,
so I'm just leaving it here and just say.
yeah, just take her right down the hallway and all the way at the end, thank you.
are you, maybe I'm too early in asking this, are you proposing that might not need the blight ordinance?
Yeah,
with what we've
Because
got?
we don't need to pay, like, create other job titles and pay people extra for something we already have the power to do what we have. That's what-
We'll see how this one turns out. When I cross that.
Exactly.
That's my biggest concern is with adding more to the already existing staff or having to create new staff. So like, because everyone already has like.
They're at
a
capacity.
lot of, like,
Yep.
Because I think we can do what we want to do just by following the codes without having to have.
See how it works out.
Okay.
Anything else on the plate order?
Did you ever have a chance to speak with,
Stonington?
the clerk, Jonathan Stonington?
No, I looked at a whole bunch of other towns and they all did stuff, that they all did it the same way that it has an R ordinance, and most of them added, they didn't have staff just for like the job titles, they added it to other staff that was already there. So they had like the deputy zoning officer was also the
What enforcement?
lake enforcement, like they double did it. So I didn't think I needed to ask her questions because I could tell from looking and reading other ordinances, like what they were doing. Plus they're in Stonington, their land is different than Voluntown, like they're mostly smaller, like it's different.
That's wrong.
Yeah, it's not as much farmland and rural as we are here. We're more like, I was looking at, Preston and I have it right here. Hold on. I found, if anyone wants to look at them. I found. The, the authority that, who has the authority to prevent blight and rehabilitate blighted property, like without having an ordinance. So I found information on that. It says things where ordinances can establish part like what we had in ours, but there are other ways to do it. Financial incentives to address blight, ways to do that. I found strategies of dealing with abandoned and dilapidated buildings. Ledyard is the one I found. One of our, she's an alternate on planning and zoning, is the zoning enforcement officer for Ledyard. I looked at their ordinance and they actually had a good complaint form that I grabbed from there too. So if anyone wants to look at any of these and answer the questions and show how they're.
So Legend does not have light, they just use other ordinances.
No, they have a blight ordinance, it's right here.
Okay.
It's from 2019. They're just really long and way more detailed than ours. But it's set up the same way as far as the staff and everything. There's just more. Or an ordinance on distress benefits to. So I haven't been.
What I think that it's good to have the ordinances in place and actually have a new officer execute as he's done. I'm wondering how this is going to work out after the 30 days if the property owner does nothing.
Mhm.
And then how we have to encumber the property with a lien or something to try and ultimately get our money back when they get around to selling it the next 50 years. I'm curious to see how that's going to work out.
Because the only difference would be like in the ordinance, we'd be able to fine them for like how many days they're out of violation, but we still don't have the power to force them to do things like we would now. I think that's the only difference.
But even if we were finding someone, it would ultimately, more likely than not, just wind up as a tax lien against the property.
Right.
So,
Either way, when properties get blighted, like the ones that we have, it's gonna end up more towards the lien than it is them actually paying.
But eventually at some point you collect the money.
Yeah, and it would be the same as this, if we have to do anything, we would still end up.
Sure.
the same way.
Where I see them as being separate tools that you know, one's the lever, the other's the pry bar, basically the same thing.
Yeah.
But if you were to have in a neighborhood, one particularly blighted structure among them, the homes on along the street, there are just average homes, let's say, and you're all paying your property tax $4 grand a year or thereabouts, and the blighted property has been uninhabited for 30 or 40 years, and it's basically a knockdown, tear down. The person's property valuation, your assessment on the grand list is going to be quite low. And if the person is a real estate speculator or just waiting to sell the property at a better price, they have the advantage of paying a low tax rate based upon the value of their derelict structure. So they have that advantage. They are also disadvantaged in the community because they've got this blighted structure in the middle of your neighborhood, which attracts perhaps the wrong element, problems, so forth, so on, vermin, whatever it may be, like the rat house. That the even a $25 a day fine and a $365 calendar year is going to amount to almost $9,000 a year in a penalty. Sort of incent that person to tear it down, get rid of it, so forth, so on. So that it almost encourages them to either sell the property and get rid of it faster, somebody else, or clearly eliminates the profit potential of holding on to a property.
Right.
If you
Is it
allow,
appreciating more than $9 grand per year?
Right.
Or not? So, yeah.
so that's right. I see that as well too, because we have properties like this right down on Beach Pond.
Then we can still do the same thing to that too. It's just weird.
So the question I've got on the current ordinance is, do the current ordinance have,
There is no current. We're following the building code.
okay, the building codes. Is there, I see possibility of litigation with just using the building codes.
Well,
If-
either way there is.
But in the blight ordinance, wouldn't we have the blight board of appeal? Whereas with the building code, does it go to the ZBA, the zoning board of appeals?
Probably. Let me find,
So,
I have the actual code.
because if the town is proposing action and there's nothing for them to say, wait a minute, this is a malicious complaint. It's not the structure isn't falling down, but we took action off of a complaint in good faith.
No, they can, I think they can go to ZBA, hold on.
Okay.
So costs incurred in the performance of emergency repairs or demolition under the order of the building official shall be paid from the treasury of the town, which is what I'm saying. City or borough in which the building or structure is located on approval of the building official. The legal counsel of the town, city or borough shall institute appropriate actions against the owner of the premises where the unsafe building or structure is or was located. So that can be done with a lean towards the cost of the work. That can be done with the town, like not taking the property, but like somehow acquiring it and then selling it and developing it and doing what it wants with it to beautify the town, which I've seen other towns do. I'm not saying that's what we're gonna do, but that's some of the things that. So, and it encourages redoing in the area, so. But that's whatever, there's another section I don't have.
Well, see how this goes, 30 days. See.
And then it even says penalty pursuant to the provisions of section, the general statutes, any person who by himself or his agent fails to comply with a written order with building inspector for the provision of additional just buildings in a building, the repair or alteration of a building, or the removal of a building, or any portion thereof shall be fined not less than $200 nor more than $1,000 for imprisoned not more than 6 months. So those are the things.
Lock them up in the basement for 6 months.
So not less than 200 and not more than 1,000 and prison. There are, I'm sure there are, I'm like Rick's not here asking the questions about the building code, but I'm sure that there are. I think with the ordinance, like the part. This would probably go to UVA, the ordinance that are a little different. Not a fine. This one we just. The fine for whatever human violation. What's really helpful is. Make copies for the table. Of the powers,
Building official.
authority to. Do weighted or abandoned property. This is further development of it. Financial incentives to address blight. But I'm not thinking it more, I'm not thinking of these tools as more as punishment, but more as, getting action done.
Carrots and sticks.
Yeah, I'm seeing it more as, sell the property to someone that wants to do something with it. Or fix it up and make it workable for the town. And there are grants out there too, that the town can apply for to incentivize property owners to do that. It's to get it looking better and workable as opposed to punishing them. Keeping it there, because that's what usually happens in instances in the past, where you can put all the fines in the world on it. Still there. They don't intend to pay them, they don't intend to sell, they don't intend to do anything. Unless the town wants to take every single person to court, which again is unrealistic, and it's gonna cost a lot of money. It's really. That's why the big tall sign is still at the end of the road down there from however long ago. That's a violation. We're not gonna take someone to court for fine that they nailed up on the. And I'm sure he owns crap load of money in fines right now. But I expect they would do that.
Well, the town will eventually, 50 years from now. But
But probably not, because I don't think it's ever been acted on. That was before me, but I don't think they've ever like put a lien on it or anything. Yeah. That was before me, but I don't think, I've never heard of that, somebody actually doing the lien or something.
Be marshal one down.
go to the lean place.
Well,
And I know people that we've even cited with, through the zoning inspectors that can't afford to do the stuff, like, we've waived fees because, they can't afford to do it, so what are you supposed to do? You don't want them to not have a house or.
oh, let's give it 30 days and see what happens.
2 Church Street.
All right, that's in the package. So Julie found a RFP, we filled in the blanks and the stuff that's highlighted. We have to send it to the attorney, so like the 90-day thing, I'm not really sure what that means. If that needs to stay there or not.
And the dates are just,
Sorry,
to put dates in there, doesn't mean it's actually going out.
got a text from myself, so I'm like. go for that. Early meeting.
Yeah, and under number 3, that would be, what do you want to see from the people? You don't, this is just their. You don't have to ask for all of this stuff, but it's an option. Because obviously there's gonna be no proposed use for the property. No, that there's.
Unless they want to turn into a park.
There's much they can do with the park.
It can be a park still.
It could be.
Could be a park,
Private
it
park.
could have a teeny house.
With no sewer or, well, or one or the other. Not room for both. Well, there might not even be room for both, one, because however close the other neighbor stuff is.
Yeah.
But
So when someone buys them, you see a little teardrop RV sitting over there.
So you send it to the lawyer, lawyer's gonna review it.
yeah,
Minimum bid, so that if there is a spot in there that has the minimum bid, that the other suggestion. I would suggest, or whatever you guys want to do, the other option would be to just say the selectmen have the ability to reject all bids. And not put the minimum bid, or you can have a minimum bid, but.
Yeah,
It's
that's-
up to you guys.
that's what I was thinking too, because right now we're not getting any money for it because it's town owned, and even if we don't put a minimum bid, whoever buys it will be paying tax on it, so we make out regardless. Over time,
And if somebody puts in a bid for $1 and you say, well,
that's pretty.
that's unacceptable, then you don't have to get that.
I like that idea rather than 5K minimum bid.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've got what? 2 or 3 potential buyers around it.
So at first I was like, I don't want to make no minimum, but then the more I thought about it, I'm like, well. We're not
Put
getting,
it low at 1,000 or something like that, I wouldn't put it too high.
Yeah.
If you put one out.
It's a commercially zoned area, but
it's not an approved building lot, so it's,
but if a budding property owner bought it,
yeah, where it's a business, this is like the business district, so.
The point is to actually get it yourself.
Yeah.
And get taxes on it rather than us maintaining it and things.
Having to mow it, and at least we don't have to make it safe anymore.
Well, now we can do blight without having the #1 blight in town, so that was the problem before. I'm like, I can't enforce blight if we are.
If we own the worst, most blighted building in town, yes.
We are in our blight, so.
So I like the idea for no minimum bid, and all bids will be reviewed and by the board of selectmen and can be rejected by the board of selectmen. So if someone needs a $1 bid. No, you can do better.
Yeah.
You do have the option of putting out with no bid and decide you don't like any of them, then reject it and put the bid out.
Put it
the
back
RFP
out,
out
yeah.
again with the minimum bid.
Yeah.
It doesn't cost anything to put it on our town or in the state portal.
Okay.
So we can say no and put it out again.
Well, even if somebody were to buy that little plot of land for $10,000, you know, mill rate's 30 mils, that's 3%. It's gonna cost you $1 million a year to own the land. If somebody doesn't want to put a gas station like Chuck E. Cheese or Five Guys or whatever out there, it becomes a more valuable part of land because the two lots are too small to really do anything with it. So one, two budding landowners should buy it.
Right,
Right? Rat people gonna buy it?
maybe, they,
Oh.
new people just bought it,
Oh, really?
yeah, they're redoing it,
Oh, lovely.
they're working on it. They got their permits out, and I think you can see them working on it.
Hazmat suits and 95s.
They
Lots of
might
beach.
want, they might want some land that connects their property to the main road, wouldn't
Just put a driveway out onto the main road.
they? They have stuff.
They can be made to go away.
I take other grants and stuff. Thank you.
All right, any more comments on that before we, send it on for review?
So take out the minimum bid.
Yeah, I would think, I wouldn't know if you take out the minimum bid,
Reserving the right to reject all bids.
yeah, that's already in there like multiple times.
Good.
I like how it repeated stuff over and over again, so if you like skipped around and like didn't read the whole thing, you'd still see it.
Well, that's what I wasn't sure of, with it, said it too many times.
No, I like that, I noticed it was in like every section, I just like it, I like that, so that it was repeated over and over, it's clear, yeah.
Oh.
All right, so we'll move on, tax refund. I don't feel like that's that.
Yeah, it's in here.
Well, maybe, for the old business, I know it's not on this, but any further word from the state on their avian flu protocols?
No. No. Nothing yet.
All right.
Um.
Did you have a chance to talk to the lawyer? Sure, I would skip what my concerns were.
Yeah, go ahead.
My concern is that the state has got their protocol in a filing cabinet, and if such crisis should arise, out comes the file and, you know, dump everything out there and no preparation.
Yeah.
The site, no fed, no covered enclosure, just drop off, you know,
50,000 dead birds.
yeah, 500,000 more likely dead birds. Cover it with 12 inches of wood mulch and call it a day. And I suggested Tracy that you should talk to the attorney about going to court, and getting an injunction to prevent the state from doing such things until they put a proper facility in place to manage an articulated risk. If they think this is a risk and they think it's going to happen, fine, you know, we accept it. You know, they own the land. You know, a crisis, you know, something would need to be done, but you know, for God's sakes, at least prepare for it. Because I'm doing all the wildlife that's out there and the rains that we get and everything else, we can come out and turn this mulch pile of dead animals over. If they're uncovered and the wood chips wash off, so forth, so our neighbors, you know, be smelling that all summer long. And I thought if we don't do anything, you know, that's
The plans that are in the filing cabinet unmodified.
yeah, you know, we already have our protocol in place and we acted on it, so you know, we should maybe be a little bit more proactive. And say, look, you know, we're serious about this. We understand that you're gonna do it, but you need to do it the right way. And just encourage Tracy to talk to the attorney about
Yeah,
this.
I can start with that. I just sounds expensive, and the reason why. When I talked to the state about this before, it's an emergency plan and under like FEMA and like just having emergency in it.
We've seen what the government can do in
Yeah.
an emergency.
Yeah, they can do anything, so it sounds like that we can sue them and do an injunction and pay money to do that, but in the end, they're not gonna have to. Because it's an emergency, it's for an emergency, so I can ask that of the attorney, but it sounds like it's just gonna cost us a lot of money and it's just gonna be the same answer. I don't have to.
That could cost us money, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I'm also thinking, we don't know which is gonna cost us on the other end,
Yeah, I know.
if it turns into it.
Outside.
Unmitigated disaster.
Yeah, disaster, you know, for the local community, and
Right.
afraid that the rest of the state's gonna say, but,
Right,
you know, not on our back and our job.
right,
I mean, this is where I live.
right. I'll find out with you. I don't know. So next we have. the tax return.
Yep, they're in the back, there's
Oh, yeah.
4 of them. Yep, 5 of them. 5 of them, I make a motion to accept the tax collector's recommendation for tax refunds.
There's a second, there for 168 North Shore Road, 112 East Rock Hill Road, 3 Wilson Road, 222 Target Turnpike, and 222 Target. So motion's been made and seconded to refund the tax refund as requested by the tax collector. Any discussion?
Anyone?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, hearing none, there. Driveway permit, 234 Second Turnpike. Have a driveway, permit application. She actually paid the bond and dropped the application off in July. Due to the location of the property, when Public Works went out to originally look at it, they recommended that she do a survey to make sure that she could actually put a driveway there, because there's it's right at the corner, for sight lines and because the slopes. We wanted to make sure that it was possible.
Yeah, 'cause that's that steep embankment.
Yeah.
That curve.
So, she did, she got a survey. And she proposing to put the driveway right exactly next to where the current driveway is. Right now, it's a shared, she has an easement on a different driveway, which she wants her own, so. And this is what Public Works recommended, that she, if it's possible to put one there, to put it as close to the original one as possible, and also make sure that the drainage pipe underneath it. So, I talked to her and said that I didn't think that it would be a problem, and I just needed to approve it today.
Move to approve.
Second,
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the driveway permit for 234 Second Turnpike. Any questions or discussion? No? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
So, today is 26th. 41 Church Street, there we talked about.
Lucid.
Close it. All right, so. The state. The state gives us money, under the category of LoSiP fund. We. Or how much?
Was it like 72,000?
I had an email and I had a packet. I can look it up.
Allentown has $72,928.
So. When do we have to tell them by a certain time what we're gonna spend it on?
No.
Okay. So
Where's the restrictions?
it's for.
Capital improvements basically is what it needs to be. Something that's in our capital improvement plan now, currently, or. rotating.
I didn't go. I did not move, and I remember seeing it when I was looking for the other stuff. It was my life. It can be used for, yeah, anything that we have in capital projects, so, I just wanted to put it out there, if you have any ideas. We do have, work that still needs to be done in the town hall and the library. We have a bunch of things that we could use it for. But we have to appropriate it and then, put the money, so. I have a paperwork, I can find it and you can read it. One time.
Oh, yeah, automated journal.
I don't know where. You can read it, and if you have any ideas, you can bring it back up. Yeah. Right. Here. So if you want to. This explains everything. So, if you want to read it. I got it. All right. Moving on, America 250.
What is that? That sounded intriguing.
All right, so America,
Were we gonna decide what we wanted to spend it on?
well, we can use it for, I don't know, do we want to decide that? I was waiting to find out what we were gonna have left for from the speed grant. We probably need more details before we can decide. Because we need to find out what we have left from the speed grant that we ran out of money for, and I need to find out when we redid the roads, we're responsible for putting the yellow lines back where the curves are. We didn't budget for that. I don't know if we might have the money in public works to do that, but I don't know how much it's gonna cost.
Whenever we do use the load, that it will require a meeting and
Yeah.
vote it on to use it for that.
Yeah, we have to appropriate it.
5 minutes.
Yeah, we have to appropriate it, so. I don't wanna do that until we know for sure what we're gonna use it on, and then we don't have the numbers for the projects that we're working on, so. But those are two of the options.
Mhm.
And there's also another option is, as part of the Gate Street project, we want to make the soccer field and the field more usable. But in order to do that, we gotta get rid of the weeds and plant grass and do all that stuff.
Geez.
Yeah, but we tried to do all that before and it's impossible unless we have a way to actually water it. Cause we spent a lot of money on reseeding and irrigating over there last summer or the summer before, and it didn't rain and we had no way to water it. So we also can look into a way to get a water system from this side of the road to the other side of the road, because we do have a well and we do have a pond. So the option is to like.
The school's a public water utility, and they have 2 wells.
Yeah, so that's another part of it, but to do a study to figure out the best way to bring water to them there. So that's another option. And I don't know how much any of these are gonna cost, and that's a lot of things for $72,000.
Well, and just a couple of lights, school lights.
Oh, that's on the agenda.
Okay.
That's on the agenda. We already have, but I'm working on it. That's on the agenda. I'll worry about it.
Can we rewind to something you said like a minute and a half ago? So when we redo a road, we have to repaint the yellow lines on curves.
Yes, because do you remember, like, right when I first became first selectman, all of the reflective arrow signs showed up on the roads. The really bright lights that everyone was like blinded by at first because it was went from being dark to blindingly yellow. I had them down at Bailey Pond and everyone was like, what the heck? They're actually been useful because there haven't been a lot of accidents. But when the state put those in, they put the signs in and they painted the yellow lines on the road at the curves. It's
Yep.
like a accident prevention safety thing. They did all that with a grant, but we're responsible for putting them back.
Doesn't that require a specialized piece of equipment to do?
Yeah, so that's why I don't know.
Because we would then have to, and
We'd have
that
to,
doesn't sound like something that you rent.
no, you can rent, you just hire, there's people that like that, that's their job is to paint the lines in the road, so you just hire.
Oh, so, okay, so we can hire a contractor.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was gonna be, we're gonna have to buy this $100,000 little specialized.
I can't make a straight line.
And
so it
the ones, right?
Exactly. That's what they are.
would not be me doing that job.
Yeah.
But no, it's not gonna cost $72,000, probably.
Okay, no, you answered my question.
No, it's contracting.
An independent contractor who owns the Zamboni for
Lines, right?
Yeah.
line striping, yes.
And
Okay.
it's, there's a couple of corners, we did Brown Road last year, the year before, and there's a couple of corners there that need to be done, and, Wiley. So, like, we didn't, to hire them to come and do like one corner on Brown Road, but now that we have more roads that need it, there's a lot on Wiley. So,
Okay.
It's probably also a liability issue. So
It
it's probably
is.
better to get it done sooner rather than later.
It is a liability because it's part of the plan. So we have like actual maps that show where all the lines are and everything, so. We're responsible for putting the signs back up and for putting the lines back up. Just on the corner where they were before,
Got it.
not all, not the whole road. All right, America 250. All right, so on July 4th, 2026, this is planning ahead. The United States of America will be celebrating the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. So last year, Governor Lamont signed Executive Order 22-2 that created the America 250 Connecticut Commission. So it says since then, the commission has been hard at work. They've been actually really going around everywhere in the past couple of months to spread the word. But they're inviting every town, including Voluntown, to participate in the celebration. So they are looking for ways that cities and towns can be a part of it with inspiration from the commission's goals. They have a website. So if you want to look at it, you can go to their America 250 Connecticut website. I have linked it to it. So they want every municipality to start a group, have make contact and start a group of people, librarians, historians, EDC, business owners, town clerks. To work together to come up with activities. So this is just spreading the word, finding interested, want
2026.
2026.
Got it.
So they're especially wanting projects that encourage inclusivity, so in the history, so some of the things they were talking about was like how slavery impacted your town, whether through underground railroads or if you have like cemetery, like slave cemeteries that you might not know about, or history of property, like they just trying to connect like history to They even said the Native Americans, like what Native American history do you have in your town? That might not have been, done or talked about before. That's part of the 250 year. So, or for us, 300.
Or more, if we go back to King Philip War.
We know, it might be an interesting project for the Boy Scouts and Historical Society, of the copy of that map out there, that my mother paid for. It's up in the state library, and that marked all B rocks for the original land grant.
Oh, yeah.
They found it made to the soldiers that fought. In the Control War.
Oh, yeah.
And rocks were still in the forest, and it's still marked.
We've also got the Underground Railroad stop at the,
Chucky's.
what?
At Chucky's.
That's future.
At the BPD, the Youth Trust. We're going to school, when they're doing their school tours, that's one of their big things. Here, kids, come down into the basement. It's not creepy.
Right. I talked to the EDC about it, and like the whole, it's a lot of the programs sponsored by the EDC, like Department of Economic Development, because they're trying to like get people to come to like bring tourism part of it for the events in your town. So,
Okay.
I'll probably put something on the website and see if there's interest to get a committee started on the contact person right now. So once I get information about it, we'll be able to get it out there. If anyone else wants to be on the committee, we can work on.
Why don't you hand this off to the Historical Society?
I will let them know too. So,
You can't do it all.
no, yeah, we're spreading the news, starting with us in the town, and I'm gonna forward this on to them too. So I'm the contact person right now. But if someone wants to take it and go with it, then.
Some way to help my email account.
Yeah, yeah, I'll have to. But, all right,
Have no.
school speed sign. So, I finally found a contact person, the Department of Transportation to work on the school signs. I've already been to the school and talked to them. There's a whole application process for this.
Yes, there is.
It's government.
I have done a request to OSTA, the traffic authority. I had to fill out a form because it's I want to do 25 school zone 25 miles an hour when flashing signs and find double signs. So I had to put in an application to reduce the speed limit to 25 miles an hour there. And get it recognized as a school zone because it's currently not a school zone. It's marked for pedestrian crossing. So I sent all that information on, and they also needed to know what kind of flag, sent them a picture of the lights I want to put up, they have to approve them. They have to approve those signs and lights, and the town has to pay and install them, which we have the money for, which is fine. I just need permission to get those lights. And I need to know where to put them, so it has to go to traffic engineering, they have to be like 200 feet from the school, at least 200 feet from the school.
But not more than 237 feet from the school.
So they have to help me figure out where I can put them, and then we can put them in if they approve the ones I want, and they approve this, the whole school zone thing. And I work with the school on the times for the flashing, so I have to submit that too, so that, I don't know if that has to be approved or what, so.
Do you take holidays into consideration as well too, and summer vacation? You want to flash on the 4th of July.
No,
Well, we have to.
all the
program.
school signs flash on holidays.
So hopefully they're not that hard to program, and hopefully that's not my job, because I don't want to do that.
Because every town around here, Griswold, whenever I drive down that way during the summer,
Good point.
that their school zone signs are still flashing.
Uh,
So I'm like, does that mean I have to slow down now or not? Because school's not in session. That's just what goes through my head every time I go by a flashing sign.
So that's going forward, and literally, hopefully we'll have them up before it's sold out.
Sounds like a true government functionary.
So we're moving forward with that.
Yay.
Onto the beach pond meeting. So as I mentioned previously, I've been in discussions with the EP about the drawdown for beach pond. They're in agreement to set up a meeting, to consider the concerns, about a drawdown and talk with DEP about their concerns. And, it would be Linda Brunswick, who I've been talking to. She's a senior environmental analysis.
Good night.
Environmental review and strategic initiatives, and Eric Camerlin, who is the director of that office. He might be there too. So I was thinking October. So if anyone has any dates in October, they definitely can't do. Let me know if you wanted to be checked. So I wanted to start with October, and see if they're available anytime then, and if not, then we'll move on to November. And this is hoping to have a drawdown for beach pond for next winter, that we're talking about it now, and that the residents will have time to do any permitting for next winter. So,
Marketing and finding contractors.
Yeah.
Yes, let me modify that. It's actually what would be the last 2 days of October and the first couple of days of November, so. Yeah, from October 28th to November 4th.
That Thursday, Friday,
Yeah,
that's funny, because that's the same for me.
Okay, so definitely not that thing. Okay.
Just a Thursday, Friday.
Okay, not any Thursday, Friday.
No, just the last Thursday, Friday. Same as Jim
Okay.
on that.
Okay.
but we're not going away.
No.
In case anybody out there is watching the meeting and they have any ideas.
Not happening. It's our fetish fan club. We're both speaking at it.
All right, so that's all I have.
I have no suggestions for next meeting. I make a motion to adjourn.
So
It's like the longest meeting we've had in the season. All in favor?
Skip's back, did you notice?
All in favor of return?
Aye.
All right, thank you.
We're out.
Okay, let me know what you want me to do with that car.
Yeah. I started to look it up earlier. There's a specific form for 5-1.
Give me
See
whatever
trees.
you know. Sooner I can make the donations to help the scouts out, the happier my life will be.
Get the hunk of junk